You're listening to the Appleton REIA podcast, a podcast dedicated to understanding the latest tips, tricks, and techniques to be successful in today's market of real estate investing. Appleton REIA podcast. Get ready. Here's the next episode.
Hello once again. You are listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. My name is Dan Allborn, and again, co-piloting as always, Jacci Conkle. How are you?
I'm great. It's a good day. We got a good topic. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, man. You know, it's funny. I just got back from a really cool event in Nashville, which the city alone is stupid. I think I remember everything I did there. Nonetheless, met with a lot of great investors, and kind of leads us into maybe a little bit of our talk today. Because, you know, the podcast really is dedicated to help you as an investor with tips, tricks, techniques to how to be more effective in your real estate business. And the person who was speaking, he was one of the keynote speakers, Matt Andrews. He's a national speaker, is invested in real estate, but really is living, I would say, life in air. He has a pretty amazing life and able to travel and do things with his family. And what he really attested a lot of it to wasn't necessarily the real estate investing business per se, but challenged my thought of like, what are you really investing in? And he put it back on people is really what was the catalyst for him making the business that he has today and the life that he has today, is finding the right people in his world. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about what are you really investing in, and who are the people in your world that you can invest in personally.
And it's investing your time and your talents and your care and, you know, your ear.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always investing your money. It's investing in those people. And then, hey, a lot of times that brings you to your investments that bring you the money. But without those seeds, really, the people are the seeds you're planting that bring you the things. You know, Dan, we have so many people come to us all the time, you know, saying, oh, I'm just not finding the deals. There's no deals out there. How am I going to get deals? But they're so focused on the money. They're not looking at what seeds are you planting. I mean, we talk a lot about marketing, but that investment into the different people can also be the seeds that we're planting that bring us those deals.
I would agree, and like you said, it's so often we go after the dollar bills, but with people, it really is almost a time investment, right?
Yeah.
It's actually being a caring individual, being a human being at the core of who we are, right? Listening to people, understand what they're working on, and then how can you add value, right, into their life? It's that service first mentality.
Well, and thank God, because when I started my real estate business with my husband, we didn't have any money to invest in the marketing. Yes. All we had was the time and an ear to lend to invest in the people, which brought us the referrals. So, you know, your referral partners are definitely, you know, one of the categories of people. Like, how are you investing in them? How can you serve them? Right,
and that's a question some people ask. Okay, well, that's great. I can invest in people, but who can I invest in? Well,
and what does that look like?
Right, and what does it look like? Yeah. I mean, you could write down a bunch of people. I mean, I know we talked about the easy one is sellers, right?
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, if you get a seller call, you can invest in listening to their situation, understand what's going on in their world.
Why do they want to sell, and what are they looking to get out of it? Like, what is them calling me? What is the reason they called me and didn't just list it for sale by owner or call a realtor and put it up for sale? What do they need that they are looking to get from me? How do I serve first? What 100%. Do they need?
Because the reality is we know this. I mean, sellers have multiple options today, whether it be other investors or agents or whatever. So if you can really be a caring person and really try to, like Jackie said, understand what is their end goal, and then you can help facilitate that and create a solution for them, more times than not, they're going to choose you over everyone else just because you care and you understand what they're trying to get at.
That you even asked and then listened. I mean, look at how many people right now, they have, you know, rental properties and things like that they want to sell, but they can only do so much because of the tax burden. And when we can get creative in working with them on that, like, you can go ahead and get rid of these properties and tenants and headaches and whatever and still not have a problem with the taxes because we were able to get creative. Well, now we just served them in a way no one else could have, and you wouldn't have known to without asking the questions and investing that time.
I mean, that's just one of the many people. I mean, there's, you know, other investors, right?
For sure. I mean, and when it comes to other investors, investing in them would be sharing our resources, sharing our contractors, sharing our knowledge as far as how to run numbers, maybe giving someone an eye on a picture of an issue in a house that they've never had, and like, oh yeah, I see what you're looking at, you know. Gosh, Dan, there's so many ways we can invest in other investors. Even sometimes sharing leads when it's not a great lead for me.
Well, and I think there's some of that too. Like, and sometimes there's opportunities that maybe you just don't know an investment strategy that you know someone else does. You know,
for sure.
A lot of times people say I can't find good opportunities. Well, maybe it's a lead, you just don't know how to work it correctly. So then you can throw that out to other investors. Hey, I have this opportunity. What are your thoughts? So it's just building those relationships, right? You know, we could look at like other people, like your lenders that you're dealing with. You know, potential people that have got money. I mean, there's a lot of people even at the local REIA that lend money.
Oh my goodness! Whether it be private lenders like that, or hard money lenders, or even your banks and credit unions.
100%.
You know, I know that for Brett and I, we try to do as much as we can to refer people to them when they've done a good job for 100%. Us. I mean, obviously, right? The one hand feeds the other, but when they've done a great job for us, or when we've been able to kind of train them up in what we do and how and come out with those best terms, we've all invested that time 100%. Already and that mind space to put things together. So they're working hard to create something for us. Then we give back to them by also bringing others to them that can use that exact same service. You know, absolutely. Our title companies are another one in that same line.
Oh, absolutely. And then the same thing for contractors, same thing for sure. You know, other real estate agents. Sometimes, you know, in the real estate space, agents get a bad name, but have you ever really tried to really make them try to understand how you buy and what you're looking for? You know, if you just go to an agency and looking for deals and don't give any clarification, you're going to get a lot of crap that doesn't make sense, right? But if you have an agent that is willing to actually listen to you and you listen to them, then there's opportunities where you can do business together, and you know they can list the properties and things like that they help you find. That's where those relationships can really blossom and grow.
Well, I have a student that co-markets with a local agent. And so they both put in 50% of the money and they co-market, like we can buy it or list it kind of a thing. And then whichever one of them gets business off of that marketing that goes out, it's mail pieces. The other one gets like a referral fee commission split type thing. You got to be careful saying commission split. When there's a license, it's not really that. But you know, so if the agent takes a listing, the investor gets a little, you know, referral fee, vice versa. If the investor buys the property, the agent gets, you know, a sliver as a referral fee. And then many times they're also still utilizing that agent to go ahead and list it. So again, investing in those people, and like you just said, explaining what works, how it works, what we're looking for, and how they might even go out and try to get that business for us. And if it doesn't fall in line with where we're at, they get a listing, right? So
100%.
That's better than walking into the office and saying, I'm looking for deals. That's investing in that person.
Agreed. And it's just having dialogue with that individual to both understand what the end goal is. And then that's where you can get creative and craft solutions that you're serving each other, right? Is what you end up doing. You're working together in that regard.
Well, and you're serving the end client too.
Right.
Without really even realizing it, you're serving that end client. Because that realtor might go on a listing appointment and walk in and go, oh gosh, it smells like cat pee and it looks like 1950. You know, I'm going to need to call in, hey, what do you say? I've got a buyer for this right now without you even touching anything. Would you mind if I brought them in and we can just see where that number falls before we waste time cleaning and repairing and pricing this? Let's just see what that looks like. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, we'll just move on to what we were going to do in the first place. And so, again, sharing and explaining that with your agent friends is going to serve that end client, which is another person you're investing in, you know, third party there, but it definitely opens the doors for both of you, for all of you.
Absolutely.
The greater good.
You know, all these people that they always talk about when you put your team together, it's investing in these individuals that you really, you're bringing value to them, right? How you can serve them. And if you come from that heart of service, you're really never, ever going to go wrong.
That's true.
You know? But the other thing you have to watch out for, and I thought this was interesting, because when Matt was talking, he shared that there's really 3 different types of people that, you know, kind of fall, you know, I mean, we always share, we talk about this a lot, but, you know, we are the byproduct of your sphere of influence, right?
The law of attraction.
Yeah, for sure. And there's 3 main type of momentum people in your life, right? You're going to have people that are the momentum makers. They make momentum, right? You're going to have the people that are the breakers, right? That sometimes can break that momentum. And then the last category is the people that you want to run from. Those are the takers, right? Yeah. They want everything and don't want to give anything in return, right?
And it's funny because as you're going through it, I mean, we all have momentum takers in our lives. And sometimes they're the people closest to us. They're the people in our own household many times, right? Yeah. They could be close friends, or they could be family. Or they could be other people in the marketplace. But generally, most of us run from those people when we discover it. But the ones we can't run from as easily are those people in our friends and family circle. But when you're going through it and you say momentum breakers, and I was thinking, what's the difference between a breaker and a taker? And I immediately thought of some of those contractors out there, right? Sure. They'll break your momentum because they don't show up to the job, and now you have to reschedule everyone that was behind them, or they show up and do a bad job, and now you have to hire someone else to redo it, right? That's kind of a momentum breaker. Yes. And so you really have to look at, number one, how do you invest in those people, in those contractors and laborers? Like, how do we invest in them up front? And how do we invest enough to keep the good ones when we find them, right? And refer back and forth. So again, investing in other investors where we're sharing those wonderful contacts. But if we can up front, like, really invest in those contractors too and make the right decisions, we might not end up with as many of the momentum breakers.
Yeah, and sometimes trying to find these people, I think there's three things that you can kind of look at is just be yourself, right? Be transparent, be open and honest with people. This is how you can kind of, pour into people. Also, be authentic, don't be someone that you're not. And also be vulnerable. I think that sometimes we often, we want to put this bravado and this stigma, I'm XYZ investor or whatever, but people see through that like you would never believe. So whenever you try to, there is something to said to be make it or fake it before you make it, right? There's some element of that, but you can also do that in a humble way. Like, I'm trying to grind and build this, but I'm also new. So, if as long as you're authentic and open and honest with people, I think that goes a long way in building these relationships and creating some of that capital, right?
Yeah, it's funny. That reminds me of, there was a study, and I heard this a long time ago, but it was something where, like, they would call like a customer service line or something, and the first time they would come across really strong, like, I need this, kind of like, I deserve this, you need to do this for me, or whatever. Like, let's just say you're calling your credit card trying to get your interest rate lowered, or to get them to forgive a late fee or something like that. And you call almost demanding, you're less likely to have it happen than if you called and said, hi, I'm having a hard time and I wondered if you could help me. People want to help you, but they don't want to be told what to do. So maybe the same way when we're dealing with, say, a contractor or a laborer, and coming at them like, okay, this is what you're going to do. I need it done by this time, and and I'm only going to pay you this one. Instead of coming in like that, if we came in like, wow, I'm really over my head here, or wow, I lost my last guy and I'm really hoping you can help me. Here's the job, here's what I need done. This is the budget I have. Is there any way that you can help me out here? Do you even have the time? Like, when could you come? I need it by this time, but what does it look like for you? If you came at people that way, I bet you'd find that study works in the same.
100%. And sometimes we don't feel that with contractors because they're gruff, or they come across kind of hard, but folks, at the end of the day, they're human beings. Like, they're just like you and I. They put their pants on every day, and they they have to deal with some crap too. So to Jackie's point, I think there's huge value in that. How can I was hoping you could help me. Here's the dilemma, and just being open, honest, transparent, and vulnerable. At the end of the day, as long as you're truthful, and then you're going to find out, are they going to be part of that breaker, or are they going to be part of the making of that momentum?
You're right.
Because if you give that olive branch, and then they make a commitment, and then they fail to do their commitment, you don't continue to. Those are not the people you want in your sphere, right?
Right. But first you have to find out if they are or not.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Now when they do a good job, just say, like, I really appreciate that you're here. Just so you know, all the people that I've worked with in the past, like, we've done everything we could to help them build their business too. So, once we have this whole thing behind us and you're able to help me with this, I want to make sure I help you too. Right. I'm connected. Yeah. I'm well networked, and I want if it's okay with you, if you're not too busy to take other clients, I'd love to refer people to you for the job that you're about to do for me. Why not set the stage and let them know ahead that you're someone who's going to pour into them. Yes. You're not just there to take.
Absolutely.
You're going to invest.
Absolutely. And that's how you really build that team, instead of just going and asking people to be kind of part of your team and sometimes how the gurus teach. It's really going from that service first mentality. And Matt also made a great statement that I loved, where he said, ultimately, when you're building, because you're really building relational capital, right? When you're trying to find a property, you're trying to find financial capital, right? Monies, right? But this, you're building relational capital. And what he said is you got to build that capital before you ever make a withdrawal. So really, you're investing in that individual, finding out where they're at, how can you serve them? And when you do that first, when you then go to take a withdrawal and have an ask, it's a lot easier and more accessible than trying to can you do this, can you do this, can you do this, and then do it the other way around. It seems backwards, but I'm telling you, that's where amazing teams have been built. And it just was something I understood but never heard it spoken that way. Yeah, and it's good. Wow, that completely makes sense.
Yeah, and if you find yourself just constantly frustrated with your projects and you seem like you're just always unhappy and it's just too much of a grind, too much of a work, you might just need to check what is your deposit bank look like. Are you always just withdrawing? Give more than you take whenever you have the opportunity.
That's another way of putting it. I love it.
And you just have, it's just easier. Your life's happier, your business is happier, and you're not constantly just swearing in the name of a contractor or whatever. I'm using that as an example because
it's what a lot of us, it's the pain that a lot of people are dealing with now, the contractor space.
Yeah. Because even once you find the deal, it's like that used to be all the job, right? Is like you got a good deal. But now, that's only 50% of the battle, because the other half is finding quality contractors who are going to do a good job and even show up. Right. And then not rake you across the coals either. But
Absolutely.
That's the other half of the job.
So the key is here is as you're listening to this, hopefully you see, the value obviously in building your business is people. I mean, we're in a people business. Yes, we flip homes and we buy properties, but really we're in a people business. And if you can manage people effectively and invest in people correctly, it'll pay, 10, 20 fold in your actual business itself, which is, I guess, the basis of this whole podcast today. So let me share this, is that speaking of people, this month's REIA is going to be a great topic in which we're going to talk about something we just were, those down and dirty contractors, right, Jackie?
Yeah, we just
should be good, huh?
We just hit the tip of the iceberg, but it's really working with contractors, like how do you pay them? Where do you find them? How do you keep them? Right. How do you know what something should cost? What about contracting and licensing and insurance and permits? And we're just going to talk about the whole ball of wax, Dano. Yeah,
absolutely. And the value, of course, not only at the topics, because the meetings are always great with the information, but if you want to find a team, or not a team, but if you want to find good people to invest in, stay after. Stick around, talk to people. There's amazing business that is done year after year through the Appleton REIA, and people are so willing to give while they're there. So if you have the opportunity, yes, stay for the time, and if you can stay afterwards to network, that's where really the business happens. And there's tons of money that can be made, deals that are there. It's just crazy. So
and people you can invest in.
Yeah, people you can invest in for sure, right?
One way or the other.
AppletonREIA.com is where you can go. If you've never been to the Appleton REIA, you can go online, and your first meeting is free. It's right next to the Outback Steakhouse, right over by College Avenue in Appleton.
The DoubleTree.
Yes, the DoubleTree is where it is. Awesome location, and we hope to see you. Doors open at 6:30, and you can check AppletonREIA.com for all the information. Otherwise, for that, our upcoming meetings. So if you're catching this after this month, there's always meetings third Tuesday of each month. All right? So until we talk next time, guys, have yourself a good meeting. Well, we'll have a great meeting. Hopefully you'll be there, is what I'm trying to say.
Have yourself a great day.
Have yourself a great day. And thank you for listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. Have a good one.
See ya.
You've been listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. For more information and other episodes, visit us at AppletonREIA.com.